side of the cursed lake. Chapter 7. The Chapel of the Drowned Bride. Part 1. Jenkins didn't let me wander back into the dark alone. His grip was firm, his words sharper than the wind. "You're not ready, son. None of you ever were." He walked me all the way to the cottage and left me there, standing hollow on the threshold. Then he turned and was gone. But the cold stayed. The cold followed me inside, and it never left. I couldn't remember falling asleep, if I had slept at all. Every morning blurred, no different from the fever of the nights, each as colorless as the last. I woke to the absence of her, the pillow still untouched beside me. I searched the room for traces, for shadows, for some remaining echo of the life we'd begun. Empty. Her absence filled every corner. I found a yellowing mug on the floor, but it hadn't been hers, hadn't been touched by anyone but me. Days were haunting, pale things just out of reach. Or had it been weeks? It didn't matter. My thoughts bent only to Anna and to the water that had taken her. On the third day, or the fifth, my feet brought me back to the lake, as if they knew the way better than I did. The morning air scraped my lungs. Mist wrapped its way around the pines, hushing the world in gray. Everything seemed impossibly far, yet too close. I stumbled, branches tearing at my skin like clutching fingers. Anna, she had led me here. I followed. Like a specter, like a ghost, she drifted through the fog. Her pale shape turned back to see if I was there, and my heart broke with every step. I wasn't ready, Jenkins had said. His words lingered like a curse. I reached the shore, gasping. The lake stared back, a dark, unblinking eye. Water stretched endless as sky. I thought I heard the wind call her name, and I swayed at its touch. Her name, her name. An ache pounded in my chest, and I fell to my knees, clutching nothing, holding on to what I could not keep. The mist coiled around me. I could taste the lake in the air. When I stood, the sky had shifted, but I could not say if hours had passed or seconds. I was not ready, and so I ran. The fog was thick, too thick. It seeped into my clothes, my mind. It was my wife's call. Each thought led back to her. Each breath was hers. As I wove through the trees, the old man's voice followed me like a ghost. "You're not ready. Not ready." I wanted to shut it out, wanted the silence of the lake. Leaves rustled above me. They whispered, or maybe I did. "Not ready. None of you ever are." I didn't remember turning off the main path. Didn't remember finding the narrow trail that led me deeper into the forest. The trees huddled closer as I moved, as though conspiring. but my feet had their own knowledge, one they didn't share with me. My own skin felt strange to me, like wearing a stranger's coat, like something not mine. I pulled it tight, hoping to close out the chill. Failing. I didn't notice when the lake disappeared from view, when the path shrank smaller and smaller behind me, when the fog swallowed all but the ground beneath my feet. If I had looked up, I would have seen, but I didn't. I didn't look until I saw the chapel. It rose up in front of me, dark stone dissolving into darker mist. The chapel of the drowned bride. I hadn't believed it was real. She had once spoken of the chapel on the lake, her voice softer than the current, her gaze drifting somewhere far beyond me. Not quite telling, not quite holding back, like someone who had already begun to say goodbye without saying the words, as if she knew what waited here, behind the walls. I stood before the chapel now, tracing the lines where memory ended and stone began. The roof sagged in defeat, half fallen, as though the years had finally bent its spine. Its walls bled moss and lichen, their surface slick with age and rot. Every surface seemed to cry out, lost, lost, lost. But I was the one left standing. I stepped toward the entrance, and the wind's hollow breath sent the door creaking ajar. Rusted hinges sang an iron dirge. I moved to its rhythm, each step a funeral march. Inside, I waited for the light to break me open, waited for the cold to finish what it started, but only the silence was waiting. Gray shafts of light cut through the collapsing roof, and dust spun into ghostly forms before falling back to earth. I watched it settle. I followed it inside. I was not ready for the lake, not ready for the chapel, not ready for the chapel's breathless silence, or the shape it kept hidden. The door groaned and closed behind me. I couldn't say if it had shut on its own, or if some unseen force, a guiding hand, a jealous ghost, had given it the push. My eyes adjusted to the dim. They searched the dark corners for her, saw only shadows. The air was thick, ripe with a dampness that stuck to my throat, with something else, something like decay and time. Each step I took was swallowed by the chapel's stone belly. I thought I heard the echo of wings in flight, but the sky had been left outside, hadn't it? I stepped again. Shadows moved with me, crawling across the ground like the dark secrets of men. The light was different here, different than at the lake. It bruised the edges of the room, refusing to enter fully. I needed more. The thin beam of my flashlight cut through the dim and showed me what I hadn't seen before. Empty pews lined the chapel's center, waiting for a congregation long since turned to dust. They bowed under the weight of years and damp, sagging, hunched, like the village wives who walked to the chapel, their eyes always on the lake. The light crept up the walls, and I drew closer, needing to see what no light could show, needing to understand. Murals stretched across the stone like wild confessions, like dreams Anna might have had. Dreams she never told me, never said aloud. Some already faded, others just starting. I touched the first painted figures, and my breath grew slow and deep. A woman with golden hair stared through me, her neck arched toward the sky, stretched in elegant surrender. Her gaze met mine, but her thoughts were elsewhere, already on the other side. Feathers clung to her limbs like newborn birds. They whispered. They watched. I knew those eyes, knew them. I let the beam of my flashlight move past her, though my heart strained to stay. White wings emerged in swift strokes, swift and relentless, the cycle beginning again. Another woman, this one pale willowy, drifted beneath the painter's hand, an unformed thing of exquisite sorrow. She looked like Anna, Anna whose words lingered in my mind, strange and unsaid. The cycles end, but they start again. Her voice cut the silence in the room. No, not the room. The silence in me. I wanted to speak back, wanted to say I still heard her, that I always would, but my voice refused. My hand quivered, and the light flickered through the chapel, over the altar, until it caught on the twisted bodies of the men painted into the walls. Their figures pulled against the walls, warped and terrible. Monsters caught mid-transformation. They writhed in their newly given skins. Feathered creatures crouched like unholy beasts. Tormented guardians, punished things. The painted women soared above, graceful and still. My eyes saw Anna in their arc. I saw myself below. I stared into the mural, willing it to tell me more. I stared until the darkness stared back.